Jerry has a flashbang and a HE of his own right, and FORZE fast play downstairs into the ramp. FaceCrack making his way out, sees two players in the back line. It's all sorts of bullet spam from the entire T-side. FORZE, they try and take down Han. They'll get that frag. Xe doubles up on Blocker, and it's a 5v3 with a plant coming through.
This is really early for Fate to be missing a lot of these pistol shots. God, they are looking really awkward here. We're seeing some awful duels coming out for the Fate camp, and there's a lot of damage done, though, to the T side, but a 4-on-2 advantage. Bomb plan coming through. This should be absolutely cleaned up. Patrick's last one left. Got a few players to find, not a lot of time to work with, and probably just going to try and back off. See if he can hold on to this Kevlar and the smoke, bring it into the next round. FORZE, that was damn quick into the B bomb site, Jay, and for Nicky and Blocker, they missed so many pistol shots. That is not a good start to start this series off looking not warmed up, Jay.
That was the big fear, obviously, being looking a bit awkward, not looking like you're on form, not being able to sort of challenge the FORZE side on your CT half as well. But here we are for the Fate side, losing that pistol very dominantly there from the FORZE side. And there are those odds from our partners at Lootbet. Definitely favouring FORZE this one, Dwayne, and of course we can very clearly understand exactly why that is the case.
Yeah, no, we can. And look, for Fate, I think that was a big wake-up call. We saw a couple of players really missing some pretty easy shots there. And look, I really hope that doesn't continue. It might just be a little bit of nerves going into this game, but they need to be able to turn it around, because the last thing you want to do is give a lot of early momentum up to the FORZE camp. A couple of AKs in, smokes to the A bomb site, but going to start to take this Ivy control. Fate and FORZE by themselves. And Jerry out towards Ivy. Patrick needs to try and fall back with this scout. A fair bit of damage is done once again to the T side.
And he gets that kill on a FaceCrack, so a 4-on-4 situation. Mac-10's moving in, Blocker and Flit trying to trade back and forth to a 3-on-2. FORZE holding control at this stage. Blocker backed up, sees Almaza with the bomb being dropped, but only gets away with that one kill. Flit and Xe can trade back on the SMGs, get rid of the force-sport weapons for the Fate side. Two players alive, though. That's damage being done to FORZE.
It's a decent force buy. Obviously, they're looking for a round victory, but they pretty much just got rushed out from Ivy. They did a really good job of trading, but unfortunately, just winning out or losing out in the end there. FORZE have just some great trades, especially with Flit towards the top of green. Nade stack maybe out towards T-Con for the CT side. I don't have a lot to work with going into round 3, Jay.
Nade stack from Fate. Could well do some damage if they can place it right, but they're all held out towards the B bomb site as FORZE are making their way quickly into A. Nicky taking contact against the smoke there towards the ready box cross. And bomb plant comes down immediately, 5-on-5, no damage being sustained by either squad, but FaceCrack will press forward the Mac-10, get his temper. Nice 3K, in fact, actually out towards the CT spawn. Joe looking his way in, evades the Zeus shot, but FaceCrack is the man that's doing most of the damage here. 3 frags to his name, trades will come back. Eventually, Jerry comes up with his kill in the round. 2 AK stay in, FORZE gain a ton of money for their transgressions.
It looks pretty quick too from FORZE these last few rounds, Jay. They're certainly a CIS team that probably aren't one of the quickest when you compare like your K23s and maybe even your Spirit sides. They're normally a little bit more slower and a little bit more methodical, but the first 3 rounds of the game have been really quick. They've tried to put a lot of added pressure on the Fate side. But now we get into the juice. The gun round going into round 4. The AWP on the back of Han as well as Xe power up for the FORZE camp. Into the brown halls by the looks of things. No one even contesting out from Ivy or T-Con. They're all stacked up, Jay.
First up, Ma tapping his way through, getting close towards the T side. Imagine if he hit one of those headshots early on, though. That would be information gained and a great amount of damage done to the FORZE camp, but not to be in the end. Smokes up, Han's got the AWP, backing up passive to the back of Stopper. Orp on site is watching for contact out towards upper instead. A minute to go. And it looks like FORZE have made their decision on the hit. These smokes come down. Nades up, trying to do some damage. FaceCrack gets tagged to 52. Eventually, Mar will swing on the man, take him down. Face away from ramp, though. We'll concede that part of the map back to FORZE. They're making their way up towards site. Fate going more passive to find more off angles, but Mar with a swing, Almaza with a hit. Patrick comes up with 2. Xe and Flit traded to 2-on-2, but the bomb's been dropped aggressive, and they have to force forward. They get Han down. Now it's only Nicky rotating back from connection. connected. They've got their eyes on that position. And again, bomb out in the open. FORZE need to win this fight most importantly. And Nicky's going passive here.
Yeah, he realizes the fact they've got to try and recover that bomb. So maybe if he hears the footsteps of them running forward, then that's his opportunity to swing out from Con. Taking their time, FORZE. They don't really have a lot to work with here. They need to get at least eyes onto the bomb. And now Nicky's been seen. That element of surprise is gone. Yeah,
they know now. 14 seconds though. They have to pick up that bomb and get it planted in a moment. XP will recover it. Flit up top of upper spray. Goes a little bit wrong for him, but Nicky couldn't land the kill of his own right. Nades will come back and forth on towards the bomb train, and the AWP not even needed. The USP will take the frag back, and FORZE will get the 4-0 start on the T side.
And what confidence, too, for Jerry as an in-game leader, the fact that they're able to overwhelm a stack of B. So for FORZE, I'm not sure if I like that. They made so much noise towards Brown Halls. It was like 3 players spamming ramp and sort of like a bit of a double pump play. They rotated a 3rd player over, and before the execution came through, there were 4 players at B, and FORZE still win out that round, even going into B with 4 players. I mean, that's one hell of a statement that you're able to trade out evenly there.
Double scouts in for this next eco half-buy for Fate because they've got no money. It's been effectively wrecked here by the FORZE camp, doing such a good job at controlling.
Ooh.
But the peek up from the AWP of Exy is shut down by Patrick with accurate shots to the head. Good opener for the CTs. Flit has seen both players in the back though, knows exactly where both the scouts are at. Don't know if he's got information on those scouts being in play, but might have an inkling. Set and ready towards Ivy, back of the bomb train. Good tag from Marlands on face crack. Second face does not get the kill. Does see the nades coming in hard, and Nicky chiming with their pistols. Nicky, in fact, with 2 out of Pop Dog. Flit, last man left in a 1-on-5. Han being seen, burst through, taps up. He's basically out of the round here. Fate have come up good on the eco.
Oh, I just can't believe what happens there. Oh, wow. That's not even a force buy. That's just an eco. And FORZE just get absolutely ripped apart. You see Flit really stuck in a position there where he's seen at least 3 players on the side. Needs a little bit of help from Pop Dog. But the B players start to rotate in, start to go down Pop Dog itself. What a round to come out from Fate. And I tell you what, Jay, I didn't expect too many of these sort of like eco force buy victories coming into the playoffs, but I tell you what, one's already been made, and we're really early into this series.
Good shot from Exy to start things off, however. FORZE losing control in that last round. A really bite to try and regain control back in this one. Not pressure and presence at this stage. The opening frag, of course, being found means that Fate are going to go a bit more passively on the defensive line. Still bunched up inside the A bomb site, not extending out of Ivy. Going to get a bit close towards T-Con, but not going so far as to push the issue.
You know what? I actually really like that change-up coming out from Han. We haven't really seen any aggression, or at least in the early round from Fate, and Han just goes for a really aggressive solo play from Ivy, loses the fight, and XP can juck over the AWP over the edge, but it's still showing that there's a bit of a change-up coming through, and now Nicky starts to walk out from T-Con, and that's the trade that Fate were looking for.
Still time runs short. FORZE are going to make their move in. They haven't picked up that bomb and committed towards the site just yet. I mean, it's out there in the apartments area. They can pick it up, obviously. They're so spread apart across this entire T-side line, and now Blocker gets the kill on the player in Brown Hall's face crack to 4, and suddenly the man advantage tips truly to the favor of this CT side here. FORZE going to try to split their way in a 3-pronged attack with isolated 1v1s. No trade potential for the T-side. They've got to land their bullets. And indeed, Exy will take out Nicky for 1. His teammates now going to make their way in. Patrick able to scout in the back line. Tags up Jerry. Takes some damage to return. Mar going to backstab in against Almaza. Gets that frag as Almaza gets a trade, but his teammates fall. Jerry just to secure the bomb plant in time. Yes, he does. Scout picked up, though. And Blocker has his back turned. 2 rounds to the name of Fate.
And really nice play there coming out from Fate. They actually started to over-rotate to B and then realizes the fact, hang on a minute, let's actually try and make a play at B so we don't have to keep the players there. We see the flashbang coming out to ramp for Blocker to swing, and as soon as he takes down Facecrack, he goes, right, there's no trade, there's no footsteps or extra utility I've heard. It's probably going to be a play back in the A bomb side, and then they can start to adjust for it. And spotting out that bomb wide swinging from our eyes from Pop Dog. And Fate, a couple rounds in a row now from them, Jay, and they've now forced FORZE on a bit of an eco.
AWPs and AKs in as standard for the CT cam versus the pistols as basics for FORZE. No Kevlar, no utility. PT-50s and Deagles are out, so damage is potentially there, but you're not really, relying on it for the FORZE side. May well have a bomb plant in this round, but you're not expecting it of any sort of a major amount. That may be the best thing that FORZE are looking for, however. Flit already the first casualty to be sustained.
A good start coming out from the Fate camp. Not taking any damage on that duel to take out the likes of Fate, or Flit, I should say. The T side look like they want to try and regroup in towards the brown halls, maybe see if they can just waterfall out from ramp or heaven, see if they get a bomb plant. A blocker's playing really close, and then you've got a rotator from Han that can rotate out from connected with that AWP. It really comes down to blocker making sure that him and Han are working together to not allow a bomb plant to go through.
Another 30 seconds for FORZE. Make their way down from upper AWP, already watching for the first player. The bomb's going to stagger its way out. That allows the AWP to reset itself, potentially get a frag in. Blocker finds the kill on Jerry and doubles up on Exy. The Deagle of Almas are all that remains. Han will be the man to clean up that frag of the AWP. Gets his 2K in the end, and that will be a third for Fate with a rebuy coming through from FORZE as well. We'll see the AWPs in. The AK's out for the majority of players. I have a feeling that not everyone can go for a defined buy, though.
We'll see the upgrades coming out for the T's. Fate, I'm starting to build up a little bit of money. Look at how much economy bases on the back of blocker, getting near 10k. The majority of players about 3 and above. Ooh, T-Con presence with a lot of nades to come out from the CTs. And I think one thing that Fate can do a really good job at, Jay, at least in the early stages of this CT half for them, is if they can try and put a lot of added pressure, at least in terms of utility of taking map control away from the T side, is trying to make FORZE make some incorrect decisions and some opening duels that are going to be awkward for them. I say that, and Mar just slow walks into Pop Dog. That's an easy kill to come out for Face Crack.
Patrick was tempted to go for that wallbang shot upstairs into the brown halls. Didn't manage it though. It's back up towards top of ticket booth, looks on towards the T-Con area, back line over from the A1 entrance. Ivy control has been established by the T side, but they're seeing a lot of utility coming in, trying to stop them from making their execution come out early. It will allow Nikki and Blocker to set up and potentially set up a crossfire against them.
Oh, Nikki, though, he's going to be watched out from this Ivy angle. Do they have a smoke to try and at least blind him off? His attention's certainly pulled towards Ivy, and he's going to slow walk in, takes down Exy. That's a big jewel to win out, but he can't follow up with 2 kills. And harnesses AWP shot on the T-Con player, so now they've set themselves up with information and a man advantage for this hit. Pop Dog under FORZE control as well. The 3-prong attack can look good. Ciphering off these 2 individuals. A backstab coming from Patrick, though. This could be interesting if they don't account for it. Keep your eyes on that position. Flashes go over. Going to try and blind them off. Han gets that kill on Armors. A swing coming in towards Sandwich. Face Crack being faced against. Blocker does come up with 1 good kill. Flick chimes in. Han gets his frag. Face Crack left alone in a 1-on-1. He's lost the bomb control. 10 seconds left. And Patrick's just got to stay alive. I think he knows he's won this. Face Crack can't get to the site in time. Maybe might just secure the bomb plot. No, he can't. Patrick, all he had to do was sit pretty and wait. And his teammates did all the damage. I'll tell you what, that's actually really smart from Patrick, because he could have been maybe baited out into thinking that that bomb plant had time to go, and he could have swung out from Pop Dog and then got really awkward. But it's not the case at all. A Malta V and Malta V15, a couple of codes for everyone to use at home, and our fantastic case partners of hellcase.com. Even opened up a couple of cases last night, Jay. It was quite fun. So, yeah, check them out. Couple of sick cases to win some sick skins. And for Fate, Jay, this is now 4 rounds in a row. They're starting to prepare some dominance to this FORZE camp.
And a half buy coming in for the T side. The all getting passed back to Exy, of course, safe from that last round. Due to the nature of what's going on here for FORZE, though, like, they have lost all sorts of control from a confident start. It's CT side for Fate, though, so get a little bit of respect, but Face Crack has no respect whatsoever. 2 kills found by him straight down into the P-bomb site. M4 of Nikki does sneak up, catch the bomb planter, and take out the apartment's controller. Face Crack is still looking for his frags. Patrick will shut him down. Maintain order in the server. In a 3-on-3 scenario, favor, of course, to the CT side with a weapon advantage.
I'll tell you what, Flick can recover this bomb and bring it back through Pop Dog. Does he read the fact, though, I think he thinks that there's eyes on it, but no, there's no eyes on it at all, Jay. Fate are stacking up at this B bomb side, and now there's a player out towards Ivy. Oh, Flit's in the backline. He can pick up the M4.
Can't find it though. It's pushed quite far forward. FaceCrack went all the way towards Connector, and so the Tech9 and AWP will try and back in, get the kills at opposite ends of the map. The bomb can get picked up, committed to the B site because Mar is held back passive in CT spawn. And FORZE, well, they may well get away with an eco round. Not expected again, but with that AWP in play, with the tenacity to face so far forward, it's going to work wonders for the T side.
They've even got a player in con. And Flit with that AWP could just watch the back lines of CT. This should be an easy shot coming out. Does land a tag. Doesn't need a re-peek. Mar's probably just going to save here, Jay. Not really much he could do on 14 HP. And that's one of those rounds where for both teams you go, right, we don't want to talk about it. Like, that's just a little bit embarrassing to say the least from Fate. We just see a deagle coming out from FaceCrack that opens up the ramp position. He picks up his M4. I think it was Blocker that was playing the anchor at B, and then follows up with 2 kills. And it's like, right, it's a 5-on-3. Then the bomb gets dropped from Jerry. There was just so many elements in that round that just weren't pretty at all.
Well, for FORZE, they don't need pretty. They just need rounds, and they'll get those rounds. AWP recovered for Mar at least keeps a big green gun in play for the CT cam, which opens up some options because the buy would have been awkward otherwise. Patrick can invest, drop an M4 back, and drop another one if he wants to here. And Han will be left with the AWP for the CT cam. This means that the utility buy will be bolstered. Everyone except Patrick and Han on a full set. Han could even afford another piece of utility if he wants to. He just opts against it, just going with a double flash and smoke. And FORZE are, of course, turning the tide. Can they find themselves a follow-up, though? If the rifles get taken out here, then they're going to have a bit of a bad time. Fast hit out towards the A bomb site, and already FaceCrack is going to go down. Blind spraying from Patrick takes out the Pop Dog presence. They're rotating away with T-Con players pressing inwards, seeing players on the upper trains and over towards Heaven. And still tempting on a commit here. Fit's going to face forward, get a kill back to a 4-on-4.
Now, that's the response that they were looking for there. Just seeing if they can find at least a single kill. Oh, Han's been dinged down to 2 HP through the wall. And for Exy, he might try and even push through this smoke. Oh, I don't know about that one, Jay.
Meanwhile, Flit's still acting out of the T-Con area, trading it to a 3-on-3, keeping the even nan advantage. And Han on 2 points of health means that all in all, FORZE do have a slight leg up against the Fate side. Still, they've got to isolate these kills, take them down. All 3 players leaning in towards the A side. They've already got Hell and Sandwich presence, particularly top of blue for Flit. And Mar counterbackstabing in against Almanza, sees his feet, takes him down. Man advantage gained. M4 Patrick still yet to give up his position, but he's got to be the main man of the fragging damage. Han's got 2 points of health. The best he can do is potentially deny a bomb plant, but Jerry takes out the high HP, and Han at this point is probably best to save.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a lot of options here. They know exactly where he is. They'll probably even try and hunt him down if they can. At 2 HP, they'll know how much damage they did onto Han. FORZE up. It looked awkward from the get-go. We saw the opening kill coming out from Patrick, just spamming through that Ivy smoke onto FaceCrack. And from there, we saw Flit really being the man of the hour. He opens up that A bomb side, Jay. Does a great job of finding a couple of kills. And from there, do you see how they just slowed it right down? It was like a 3-on-3. They really just waited as much time as possible, and they forced mistakes to come out from Fate. We saw Mar pushing down Pop Dog. As soon as he goes down, they go, right, now we've got the advantage. We're going to double swing onto the Ivy player. And it's just very methodical from the FORZE camp, waiting for their opposition to make mistakes.
Only pushing forward when they absolutely have to. It's working good here for the FORZE side. Trades are effective. Fate now down to the eco round. They put a lot behind that last round, obviously. Heavy investment, Bev delving into the savings. Not a lot of lost bonus left for them here. And Exley will start things off with the AWP. Straight in against Patrick. Molotov's back up here, seeing 1 player on site, seeing 1 exit to Hell. Molotov's coming in, nades up. 2nd player and 3rd player seen and sprayed. Flit doesn't quite get away alive. Nicky comes up with his kill in this one, but he's now the last man left, and Exy is going to land that wallbang shot to close it down. FORZE with 7 to the T-side board, and 1 rifle round to try and deny them the half victory here.
Yeah, you've got to think for FORZE, they're in a position now where they're trying to keep the economy line as low as possible from the CT side. And look, 7 rounds already on T. They've already got off to a great start on their opposition's map pick. If they can extend that even further, they'll be in a really great position going into that second half, going into their CT side. And for Fate, I'd like to see that change up again, whether Han gets aggressive from Ivy, just something to maybe catch the Forza guys off guard. Again, it's fast T-Con presence to come out. Mar hasn't seen Flick cross, though.
They have an inkling. Now they'll challenge him, and Nicky will take him down. AWP of Exy was also spotted and tagged. Almaza taking damage of his own right and still facing forward. The nades from Almaza will connect to a 4 versus 4. Face crack. Sneaking in here from Ivy. Got Patrick to deal with. No flashback from Jerry to support him. It'd be best to allow him to find the entry kill instead. No face scratch, just blind facing with utility coming in. Sees the man at Old Hell. Patrick takes the swing and the kill. Turned away towards the T-Con entrance. So Jerry and Exy can combine, take that player down. 3-on-3 scenario. AWP of Han sees one of the backlines, takes him down before he can exit out of the swing on Jerry. Double up, and the AWP of Exy has got nothing left.
Oh, that's big. That's a couple of great shots coming out from Han. Good to see these finding impact. A great 5th round from Fate. And for Forza, again, one thing they've done a stellar job, Jay, in this opening first half is their trading ability. And they did a decent job. They opened up Ivy. They got players out to T-Con, but they couldn't deal with Han in the site itself around the bomb train. A couple of great shots to come out. And that's probably the chance back in for Fate. Look, it's going to be difficult for them to get a lead going into the second half. But after a round like that, they could be really satisfied.
Look at fast plays coming in from the T side, straight out of the gate. Nicky's going to find a trade, though. See a second man. Still face crack forces the issue, but Patrick holds the trades. Forza trying to stagger the pace against Fate, going fast and slow in the consistent paces of these rounds. Flick comes up with a kill, but Patrick's there for the trade. Sees the AWP in the backline, but the AWP catches him off first, and Blockett is left alone on this backstab. In from Pop Dog. Don't know if they know he's there. I don't know if he made a footstep noise. He's going to be seen, though. Turns on with that frag, trying to challenge onto Jerry, the last man left. Nades up to the bomb site directly on the bomb itself, but Jerry's fallen out to hard cover, sees a gap in the smoke, and exploits it for the 8th for Forza.
And you know when you put a wash on the washing machine, you put it on like the high cycle and it just goes absolutely crazy, like it spins like there's no tomorrow? That's kind of like what Forza are doing on this T side. They are so quick, Jay, which is kind of interesting because they're not normally a fast-paced T side team. Jerry's obviously come into this map with a game plan saying, right, we want to try and pressure Fate with our aggression. The fact that they're flying down Pop Dog like that, no utility, just dry peaks, they're feeling really confident on this Russian side.
Nades on, damage being done to Flick here. Oh, he tried to transfer that spray towards 2, but again, stacking from the pistols are able to overwhelm, get one of the rifles to drop. Mar left here towards the Ivy position, seeing Almaza taking that frag back with the AK, so man advantage regained for the Forza camp. And Face Crack can return. Double up now to a 2-man advantage. P250 left to a single player of Nicky, so Forza eventually maintain that control.
They got an AK for a minute, and then it was dealt with. A 9th on the board to come out from Forza, and Fate. You've certainly got to think, Jay, that even with this being their map pick, they need to be able to, or they needed, I should say, to be able to put more of a performance up on CT. Not to say that they haven't, but in terms of the scoreboard, it is looking a little bit dire for the Bulgarians. Nicky's still making this round pretty expensive. If he can pick up an AK, that can certainly be something to bring into the next round, but it's not going to happen. Jerry makes sure that he's hunting him down. Recovers that AWP too. Fate, it would mean so much for these guys just to be able to close out the end of the half with a result, with one round. It brings a lot going forward, going into the pistol.
$10-5 half could be on the table for Forza. That's the main thing for me. Fate having to work off the worst case scenario given the circumstances. They were able to get 9-6 at the turn of their CT half to their favor, so they've already lost the chance to make that happen. If they lose 10-5 now, things could get very, very dicey going into the second. Flashes in, Patrick trying to take a face up, trying to force them away from the Ivy presence, even though they've lost all sorts of control. Forza are not going to go too far forward this. Carefully placed here from the T side.
I tell you what, it's been a while since we've seen a B hit too. It's been a lot of presence these last few rounds over towards A. And for Fate, there's only a single anchor here for Blocker. but with the lack of utility and the lack of presence out from Tikon and Ivy that we've seen in these last few rounds, they're actually going to rotate a second player back over to B of Han, and he's the one with the orb. He's got to find contact. What was that from Flit?
It's a good kill is what it is. Second face from face crack catches Blocker despite the good spray going away for the CT cam. AK facing up, sees his man, takes it to a 2 versus 5. No chance for Mara and Nikki. Might catch Flit or face crack for exit frags, but for the most part, the retake, it's off the table.
Oh, it certainly is. There's not really much that the Bulgarians can do here. They might as well try and go for it, but it's going to be so tough, especially with the fact there's even a couple of T players around the CT spawn position, Jay.
We're back to a man advantage here. Damage done towards Nikki, though. And a leg shot. Mars swings in the back, takes out one, sees Exi pursue the headshot. If he gets this kill, then Almaza will not be able to deny the bomb defuse. But it turns 10-5 for the half as FORZE do just about maintain control in the back line. A good T side as well. And again, not encouraging for Fate. They needed a good CT half. And again, I'll bring up that stat line from the previous map that they played against it. It was a 9-6 half favor to Fate on their CT start, which is where they were able to turn it into a good T side to win the map overall. So they've got a lot more work to do now that they're on the back foot, and they're now 10-5.
Yeah, look, it's been a rough one. There's no doubt about it. I would certainly say that even with them being down 5-10, Jay, out of what I've seen from Fate in the last couple of months, this is actually a really strong performance from them. And you might sort of look at that and sort of think, like, how is that a strong performance when they're down that many rounds? The fact is they actually were holding on like quite a bit of contention on that CT side. There were probably a few rounds like in the 3-on-3s where they were making mistakes, where they probably in the end could have got to maybe 7-8 if the economy was going their way. But that's, you know, the act of the game sometimes is that it comes down to who's making less mistakes. And for Fate, they were getting baited into over rotations, quick rotations too in the post plant when FORZE were just so ready for it. And look, 5 rounds on CT, it's going to be a really tough one to bring this back. But it's just got to come off to a good start, right? You know, we saw the early contention where it was 4 rounds from FORZE, 4 rounds from Fate, and then that's when FORZE really started to come into their own. It needs to be a good start into the second half, and oh my goodness! We're like halfway through the first map, Jay. Look at the odds!
I'm surprised they're that close, to be honest. Fate did hold some pretty close rounds in that one.
Yeah, I am too, actually. That's like really one-sided.
I mean, I guess they also have the same consideration about the form that Fate are in, and considering that they're recent losses and they shouldn't be here in this playoff.
Yeah.
There are some elements to understand it, but based on just the raw in-game server performance, I would have thought it would have been a little bit closer. Maybe a 7 would have been more acceptable on the money line for me, but I'm no analyst. That's just me throwing my numbers out there. Defuse kit for face cracking on this pistol round. Nicky's got the utility set here for the T side. A single flash of the smoke, and Flit already shuts out the opening kill. Face out towards Ivy, getting blocker. May have also seen that bomb.
Now that smoke going down too, and even the tag coming out from Flit, he'll know that there was a player there. He keeps trying to tag up. He keeps looking for a little bit more, Jay. And the Ivy presence is gonna... Are they gonna walk through the smoke?
Raid boss is in for hard. With a good entry, even though he's on 63 points of health. Flit takes him down, though. P250 on the floor. I think it's going to get picked up, and indeed it is. The CT's got everything to work with. A 1-on-5 and everything. Mar bombing his back, seen here towards Ivy. Looks onto the central of the site, but just can't seem to find any kills, any damage, anything that might turn this back to his favor. One that's come through from Flit, trying to turn onto face crack with a quick 180 flick, but unable to get the headshot in. So FORZE take the pistol, and now 10-1 would be a justifiable money line for me.
I think so after that. We saw from Fate, they took Ivy presence. It was re-smoke from the city side. They have a flash out from Tikon to try and get them out from Ivy. I think pushing that smoke against a player like Flit is a tough decision and a tough call, and they just see exactly what happens when they try to go for it. A force buy going in, even without a bomb plant, you can kind of understand considering the deficit. The Tech 9s, Deagles, a bit of armor and some utility. An XM out for Almaza. I'm looking for this thing. Look how aggressive it is!
Oh, blocker. Opening up the round just about. SMG picked up as well for the dead body of the CT individual. The XM1014 will start facing forward, though. They are looking for a little bit more out of this. Not going to find any information just yet, but as he rounds this corner, he could well catch blocker for a simple tap to the head, tap to the body. In fact, he's on 4 HP. Patrick's going to fall to flip, but he gets traded back. CT's on rotation, and there you go. Almas that does find that buckshot.
And they'll know there's presence out towards Ivy. A lot of footsteps being heard. Mar getting spammed on the edge of the smoke. Exi Power knows exactly where Hard is towards the site itself. The XM still out from Pop Dog, but a 2-on-2. This is actually a chance in, but they know where Han is.
And they're going to take that frag for it. Nicky is all that remains. 2 Deagle headshots to find. I don't know if they know where he is. They will now, and Jerry will shut him down. So they do maintain control here to hold on to their rifle. The shotgun also stays in for Almas. A little bit extra money gained by that Ola kill. But a big reinvestment from the CT side. A lot of money lost on that eco.
Yeah, there really was. I'm surprised that Exi Power's forcing an AWP, knowing the fact they're going to be up against pretty much Glocks. But I suppose if he wants it, he wants it. Fate not going to be able to invest too much going into round 18. There's a couple of upgrades, a pistol here or there, a flashbang 2, fast play in the XM. This could be a chance to find a lot. Jay, 1 kill. Can it make it 2? He's running out of bullets. Oh, he ends up getting a couple, and now Face Crack's chiming into the action. This is chaos in the Brown Halls.
Do get some money out of it. There are a couple SMG kills, 1 shotty kill, and the SMG of Flick going to swing in to try to clean up the rest of the damage. If he can get himself 2 more frags, that'll be a lot of money for the CT camp. Yes, they would have lost Kevlar and the utility in certain cases. They will maintain their economy game. They can even grab the shotgun if they so desire it. They do not actually, so just the M4 and the AWP with the SMG to back it up. Flick will drop that over to somebody else, but go for a buy of his own right. Almas are going to grab the AUG as well. Double orbs coming through from Flit and XC.
Yeah, they want to get this map done pretty quickly. We know that Flit and Exi are no strangers to the double AWP setups, especially on train. You normally see Flit playing towards sort of like Backrin and Ivy, and Exi Power around Con, sort of rotated a B. AEG coming in for Almeza 2, not reinvesting the auto shotgun, which I kind of like. Fate looking for a way back in, and that's the chance for them to work with. They've taken down Exi, that's a big kill to find, but now they've got to deal with Flit and Ivy.
Big opener, the TT side force, including the bomb, going to face up against the big fragger. 21 so far in this map for Flit on this AWP. Run boost could come through. Would he catch his man? He missed that flick. Jerry there to support though. Rephrase from the orb. Going to try double up. Jerry gets a double. Maybe even on for the triple. Deagle's coming out. But he pulls it out at the wrong moment. Nicky times it well on the face. And now was left in a 1-on-3. So Fate are able to secure a major man advantage. Probably presence on towards the site. Wherever they go, they can secure a bomb plant.
Almeza, you've got to think for him, being able to just recover that AWP from Flit. I don't think that Fate picked it up and chucked it over the fence. So that's probably what Almeza is looking for, Jay, is to see if he could pick up that AWP. And it looked a little bit awkward there in Ivy, didn't it? We saw a couple of missed shots coming out from Flit. Yeah, they were quite difficult, and Jerry was trying to back him up the best that he could. He gets away with a couple of kills, probably more than he should have. Time's running low. I tell you what, if the T's go towards A, this could still be interesting for Almeza. There's still a chance here.
AUG up to the back line, ready to try and outflank position. Bomb plants. Oh, he sees Nicky. He sprays through 15 seconds. They know where he is. The flashbangs continue. They blind him off. He's going to get back towards heaven real quickly. Incendiary on towards the bomb site itself. He might deny the plant still. Han got contact round the corner. Sees the what? Gets the kill. Almas has won it. He's done it on his own. I can't believe that just worked out. The AUG in a 1-on-3, and he didn't even need a triple kill.
Oh my goodness, Jay! I can't believe that's happened! Oh, that's so big. That is so big for Almeza. They even put a lurk smoke down to B to try and fake they were going to B. Almeza didn't move an inch. Actually didn't even try and recover that AWP from Ivy. There must have been a call to say, no, try and go for it. And he's so silent, denies that bomb twice. Oh, Fate. That's one of the rounds there where that's an absolute tilter. Like, that's a round where you're like, right, we had a 3-on-1 advantage. That should have been an easy round. That should have been our ticket back in for a comeback, and it's not now. Moneyline's looking awkward because there's no bomb plant. Blocker safety in the AWP, so they've got that to work with. But there's going to be hardly any utility on this T side if they continue buying these Galils and AKs. Oh man, that's one of the rounds to lose that you hope never happens.
That was their first T-side round on the Raps as well for Fate.
Yeah.
They lost the plot big time. Rebuy back in. Lack utility across the entire board. They will have the rifles in, but just... Oh man. That probably is the worst case scenario for this T-side. And FORZE taking damage. This is some back out. No opening kills in the early round, but there's still 1 minute and 20 for someone to find something here.
Oh, the XM's out again, Jay. And it's starting to get aggressive. Now, if Han goes down, this round's pretty much finished, and he's being hurt. He knows that he's in Pop Dog.
All down to timing. Shotty a bit long range, though. Can't land the frag for it. That's a kill for the Galil. So they do extend, do catch information. That's the only player they've seen upstairs towards Ivy Fate. Slowly moving up here. On towards the ace bomb site position where they have two players to defend directly, one player at Pop Dog. M4 just taking contact. AWP will scope in. See a gun barrel as well. You can't afford to give up positions like that. The boost will come out. See his man still lands a shot on Patrick as he faces, and Flick can line up. Takes them both down. Oh, disaster for Fate. Oh, disaster for Fate. 15-5. Map point for FORZE here on their opponent's map pick.
Oh, it's getting worse. It's getting worse by the minute. Exy Power to start things off, and then Flit just lines them up. 2 kills, dropping that bomb. Han can't do anything. This is getting out of hand now, Jay. We have not seen a single T round. Do you include the back end of that last half? And I think it's something like 11 out of the past 12 rounds from FORZE. It's just the streak that they've found. The momentum they've found has just been unstoppable.
Man. I have a feeling this series may already be over. I gave Fate credit to win this map at least, but I have a feeling your 2-0 prediction may have been right on the money here, Dweg. Because they're about to lose this first map. 10 map points for Fate to come back to overtime 2. Smoke set piece coming straight into the B bomb site. Almazur and Exy got those first 2 frags. Patrick and Han are solo, and now the cleanup begins. They do find 1 frag and a second. AWP misses his shot. Incendiary in the back line, though, should be able to clean up at least 1 frag. Blocker coming up with a 2K nade on site. Still can't get the kill on Patrick or Han. So Fate are still staying alive in this one. 3-on-2, and FORZE might consider a rotation away.
Oh, I like this position coming out from Han. A late backstab out from ramp to try and get into that A bomb site to wrap through Con. But there's an opportunity for that bomb just to get stuck. It's planted towards default, Jay. What can Han really do here?
Right back, 1-on-1.
Oh!
It's still stuck with the fuse, but Han comes up with a backstab 3K and a 6 for Fate to just stay alive in this one. A rebite will still come through for FORZE. But even so, for Fate, such a manic sort of round there. Could very well have lost the plot entirely, you know?
Well, the thing is, if they stuck that bomb from the left-hand side, then he would have been able to get an instant defuse. But because it was stuck from the right-hand side, it actually opens up a sightline from Han that I didn't expect to come through. A good response here. They were so low in terms of the utility damage. That's a big round to come out from Fate. And it's one to try and rescue them back, Jay.
2-for-1 trades. CT's dropping in. Flick giving up the ghost to Mar next up. The scout in for Jerry takes that quick tag on towards his next man up. Faces in against Blocker, doing damage. Eventually finding that kill to 3-on-2.
What?
Tags up against Patrick, still coming through. But still a man advantage for the T-side camp. Nade on site does not do any damage to the bomb planter. Han can stick on 100 HP. Go for the plant, eventually out open for green.
This is a force buy. They might as well try and go for it. They know that they've tagged up quite a few players, so there are going to be some around 30 HP. Almazer and Jerry both in towards Ivy. Maybe a flashbang to try and get him through.
Oh, the AG is going to peek. What can he find? One frag does not play top of blue. He does now. And now it's all on Han to defend the site, to defend the map here for Fate. Back at E-Box, smoke up on the defuse. Now Jerry is super low HP. The spray comes through. Still Almaza sticks it. Still he sticks it. And Han is allowed to find the double kill, to find the AWP, to find the 7 for Fate.
Okay, there we go. Just spamming that smoke. Forza just thought, right, let's just try and get on it. We've got a kit, we've got a smoke. Let's just get on it. If one person goes down, the next person's going to get on it. And for Han, another big round from him. This is twice now in 2 rounds, Jay, that he's been able to clutch. He's really got to be feeling quite positive about that. Being able to get at least a positive KD is something that's always very difficult when you're down this kind of a margin. But an eco to come out from Forza for Fate, you've got to think that going into that second map, if they can just get to double digits on train, they'll at least have a bit of a positive to bring forward.
Deagle in, block up. Takes that fight against XE, wins it out. P250 close against Nikki. Will double up here for the T side. And of course, the eco just getting cleaned up pretty easily so far from Fate. A couple pistol kills coming in though. Deagle back of face crack, dealt with by Patrick. Jerry left alone in the USP on site. Does still catch the bomb planter, but Han can get the trade back. So damage being done to 3 individuals. That's a lot of economical deficit here for the T side. Forza doing quite a good job with very little.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I'm kind of surprised, actually, that they're buying here, Jay. They certainly had the chance of just ecoing again. You've got Exi Power on a scout. You've only got a single kit onto Jerry. Like, you're still getting a really decent buy-through, but we've seen how much damage they've been able to do in the past when you've got Flit and Exi on the double AWP. So they've decided to buy the issue going into round 24 rather than double ecoing. And Fate. And taking a lot of control towards the top of Pop Dog, out towards the brown halls. Very, very passive at B. You even look at Almaza holding at B. He's nowhere even close towards ramp or heaven.
A scout for actually hoping for some T-con control. No one's going to lean into that for the Fate side. They're all out towards brown halls. Another set piece towards the B site as Fate are on the warpath back into the comeback. Still 7 rounds to go to try and equalize against this Forza side. Take us to OT. Incendiaries come out, Molotovs and smokes. Flashes summoning suit, eventually catching Almaza in the backline. Still sees 2 players drop up, lines up the spray against 1, sees the second man without taking him down. And then he's up the summon spot blocker, could fall indeed. Face crack takes him down. They secure a bomb pump, but Jerry snuck his way right forward. Nicky's got his back turn, no idea. Counter flash will blind off them out of the CT side as Han fires away with the AWP. Both players suppressed to the brown halls. Information caught on both, but they make it a 3-on-2. Tap to the bomb. Kit's gonna make its way to the site. Actually, there's none in play for the CT side. Face crack gets that frag back though and doubles up super quickly. The defuse can be stuck, and Forza will have this first map of the series, 16-8 on Fate's pick. Train goes their way.
And that looked pretty simple to come out from Forza. I don't think they were challenged in too many opportunities in that first map. Now, you look at the scoreline and you think, okay, Fate only put up 8 rounds. They got decimated, they got slapped. I think they actually put up a decent performance. The thing that hurt them the most, Jay, is that when you put up 5 rounds on CT and you're going into that second half, if you don't get off to a good start, if you don't win pistol, if you don't win that first gun round, it's so difficult to come back. And for Forza, they went 5-0 up going into that second half. And for Fate, they didn't have any breathing room to be able to bring that back.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're 15-5 at a certain point, you know, it just becomes a case of like, wait, well, when's that one round going to come through? Because
exactly,
like, it's just such a massive comeback. It's the reason why we always say once they get to map point, and if they're on single digits, it's usually such a difficult comeback to make happen. You usually write it off by that point, unless it's about maybe 16-9 or 15-9 sort of scoreline. You know, but for them, 15-5 is just one of those things. It's like it's way too much, way too many rounds to take, and you have to be absolutely flawless with them. And credit where it's due, Fate did look confident for those 3 rounds that they got. You know, I mean, it was a clutch defensive from the first 2, but by the time we hit the 24th round, they were still you know, holding a confident defensive against Forza's eco. But rifles out, despite the lack of a kit, they still got the kills super quickly, and Fate just kind of fell apart there in that last one.
And you've got to think that now going forward, it's going to be even more of a tough time, right? That was their map pick. They didn't get to double digits. Yeah, look, maybe there are some positives to come out of it. I think Han played at a very high level, and that's something that's a bit of a positive to go forward. But now you're playing Inferno. It's going to get even more rough than that first map.
The last time these 2 teams played Inferno, it went 16-7 to the favor of Forza. I have a feeling history is about to repeat itself, so stick with us. See whether Fate can change their own fate here after this short break. Do not go anywhere. It's our second map after the break. Welcome back to Malta Vibes. Welcome to our second map of our best of three between FORZE and Fate. If you're just joining us, Fate definitely lost their own map pick. 16-8 went the way of FORZE. They looked dominant on T side, better on CT, and it was just that end of that map really compounded a lot of the issues we've seen from Fate over the last few weeks. Man, this roster has really fallen out of favor as of late. And going into Inferno, I mentioned before we went to break that the last time these two teams played against each other, they played Inferno, it was 16-7 to the favor of FORZE. I have a feeling it might be similar sort of score lines, if not probably more one-sided for the FORZE camp.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I certainly don't think the double digits is going to be possible for this Fate camp. The Inferno has looked fantastic, to say the least. Over this entire course of 2020, I think that FORZE have been probably one of the best Inferno teams in all of Tier 2 Counter-Strike. They've been able to put up some really decent results. We saw them in the playoffs taking on MIBR and Dignitas, or at least in the group stage in the playoffs of MIBR and Dignitas, getting 2-16-9 results last week. And for the Fate side, yeah, they've put up some decent results on this map. They had some losses against AGF and Nexus, which were kind of surprising. So, yeah, Jay, look, I think it is only going to get tougher for Fate going into the second map.
You can see how good they really did look on a stat-to-stat comparison. These are your top performers from that first map. Flit out fragging Han. Could not quite get his 30 bomb in the end, even though he got particularly close. But, you know, in general, the stats from the Fate side are still looking relatively okay, especially in the case of Han, their top fragger, you know. So it's not definitely on an individual basis. Like, to me, it feels like the main issue with Fate is the fact that their core is just not quite working out for them. You mentioned it before, you know, and you mentioned it before the game, and you talked about how there's always individuals popping off for this team, but never a consorted effort for them to be able to take the maps overall. And I think that really this sort of stat line, and you know, and in general the stats across the rest of the team as well for Fate, really highlight that issue in that last map.
No, you're absolutely right. And one thing that, it's certainly a tough one to say, but I even think that the last Fate lineup was probably better than the one we've got here, you know, with Duplicate and what have you. So they obviously went down a bit of a change. I think they had like Oxygen and Duplicate, maybe even Denny. I can't really quite remember who the other three players were, but they like started off 2020 really well. They were probably one of the top contenders in Tier 2 Counter-Strike. Then they went in through like a bit of a shuffle, and a couple of those players went over to Skade, and then we saw Blocker, Patrick and Han getting picked up, and we were like, all right, you know, we're going to see a new sort of reformed Fate that are going to be able to continue their presence that they found earlier in the year, and that's just not the case at all. So yeah, look, it certainly has been a tough one for Fate, and it's got to be frustrating for Nicky too, because I feel like he's got the elements on this lineup for them to be a good team, but at the same point, it's just not working. And I don't know if that comes down to Nicky as an individual caller. Again, he's a very experienced player in the Bulgarian scene, but always hasn't been an in-game leader, Jay. It's only been either Fate or when he was on B-Pro last year that he started picking it up. But when he was on Outlaws playing with Cirque and Spellin and players like that, he wasn't the caller back then.
And you can see the change in contrast and how well that's affected him into this lineup. You know, obviously, you know, being the caller, it's going to start. It's a very different sort of style by comparison to those previous sort of rosters, and. I mean, again, questions about whether he's using his elements correctly, and I mean, in part, it is not down. It's not always down to that per se. I also think there's an element of sort of like the players that have left the roster. Like, you compare the roster they have right now to Double Magic and Duplicate and Rainwaker in the past.
That's right.
You think, you know what? Maybe this roster just isn't up to code with the previous Skates. The previous Fates, I should say, that we've seen before. You know, and I think that's just more of a commentary about the level, or just the general sort of like level that this organization is sort of like, you know, been floating as of late with their teams. And, you know, some of that stuff is out of their control. Some of it is not, you know, sometimes there's contract buyouts involved. Sometimes there's player sales. Sometimes players just, you know, don't want to re-sign in that respect. So I can see where it's sort of forced their hand a little bit, but obviously, like, you know, Fate are definitely not the best Bulgarian team anymore. I think that much is pretty much, you know, a unanimous sort of undebatable fact for me.
Yeah, look, I think the battle between Fate and Skade went back for quite some time, and I think it was very close for a while, but now the gap's quite big now. It's quite large. We've seen Skade on a little bit of an uprising, where for Fate, again, I sort of say it's been really stale. It's been 3 months now since they brought in these three players, and they haven't quite gone down. They haven't quite gone up. They've sort of been where they are. Now, some teams and some players may be like, okay, that's fine. You know, we haven't got worse, But at the same time, we haven't got better. We're happy where we are. You know, we're getting our money, we're getting our contracts, we're getting our weekly salary, and we're comfortable. Yeah, you can have that attitude, but that really shouldn't be the attitude. The attitude is right. We are not getting any better. We are not getting these playoffs runs. And if we do get into the playoffs, it seems like there's no step to go forward. We saw them in week 3 going into the grand finals. Outside of that, we had third place in group, over and over and over again. Even did that in week 10 to then end up replacing Apex in this position where they are today.
Well, once again, to remind you all that this is a situation where Fate one just not really shouldn't have been here in the first place due to the fact that Apex dropped out. So looks like they're going to get slapped back into their appropriate position, perhaps here in this one. As the knife round is about to go live for our second map of Inferno. Remind you, the multiplied sports by Game Malta, Homer Gaming Excellence. Let's talk about win conditions here for Fate. I mean, I don't think they can do anything really to sort of evade this next result. But from your perspective, Dwayne, what needs to change for this team to bring it back?
Yeah, look, get aggressive on CT. Try and get Blocker fired up. I know he's a really great CT holder, especially around that banana position when he gets aggressive. I think Fate need to play with a lot of confidence. I think they need to try and get the AWP out onto Hahn as much as they can. And they just need to be playing with confidence. The last thing you want to be doing against a team like FORZE is giving them the map control. Flit's a really great player in lurking around the apartments. He works with a lot of space. And I just think for Fate, try and put as much pressure on the back of FORZE. Try and see if you can get your opposition to adapt rather than playing their own play style. That's sort of my pointer here for a win condition for Fate.
Well, the knife round will see them start things off over on the CT side, so at least that's a slight positive here for Fate. Obviously, you expect most teams to be weighing on more, more favourable to that CT half, but this is FORZE we're talking about. And we've seen them have some very dominant T-sides here on this map up. As case in point, the odds will sort of show you that definitely they are the favourites in this map and in this series right here. We're still on for 2-0. Dwayne, your prediction may be about to come true as the pistol round starts things off with the defuse kit for Nicky over on the Fate side. Utility set for Armaza. Single flash, the single smoke and double flash coming in for him. No execution towards the B-bomb site. I mean, they could go to the set piece of two smokes if they had it, but they are not able to do so. They're just going to lean on the defaults, try and look for picks.
Yeah, very heavy stacking to the A-bomb. So we saw Mar jumps spotting over Boiler. Now, he may have been able to see one player out towards second mid, but that's all that would have been seen. And Flit now shooting a couple of bullets from his Glock, giving away his information. Oh, FORZE, though. They started taking banana control, but it looks like they want to bring this bomb into brackets. Are they going to have to deal with 4 players here, Jay?
And a crossfire is locked from Fate. This could be the way in. This could be their start in this map. To deal with the FORZE entries, we've seen how quickly they can swing around corners and just frag out on every single player they see. First contact established by Mars, seeing one. Fallback does come through. And if they heard those footsteps, the players over towards the short control, leaning in a little bit more aggressively to this brackets area. Contact from Patrick over on the B site. Meanwhile, he may have to come into fruition because they're leaning in. They're going to go for a B play.
Oh, it looked like they were going into brackets, but getting a bit of a gut feeling about it into B is probably the best decision that they can make. Patrick's going to be the only defender here, and you've got to think, take contact and try and fall back. They really need to be establishing this 5-on-5 retake if Patrick can't find anything.
Flash in, catches him completely blind. Wraps back over towards CT, expects Jerry to make his way in from cross, and indeed he does. Frag found, face crack, next face crack takes the trade, and now it's a 4v4. The bomb plot going to come down. Diffuse kit still on Nicky. He's the first entry here towards the banana position. Needs to get his teammates ahead of him and now set up the smoke to come through directly onto the coffins area. Siphoning off 2 from the bomb site in a manner of vision. Flit here still towards cross, takes out 1 and 2. Nicky trades, Exy Power hold the trade right back, and Armaza chimes in with the last frag of the round to claim the pistol. A well-played pistol from FORZE.
And what I love too from FORZE is that once they start to overwhelm Patrick, they start taking that construction approach, and from there they realize the fact, hang on, we haven't seen anything out from CT. We can focus all of our attention towards banana. And Flit, even finding a couple of kills, pulls a good distraction away. Fate not being able to retake that B bomb side. Very impressive stuff coming out from FORZE.
A big way in. Well, nades up to respond on both sides here. Only one coming in from the CT side, and it does damage to Jerry and Exy. Nade stack response from FORZE does not catch anybody for damage, let alone a kill. Mara in the apartments takes the CZ up close range, grabs an AK for his trouble. Nicky's going to get face crack as well. 5-on-3. And FORZE are going a bit reckless in this one. Fate are going to be able to punish.
So far, so good coming out for Fate. Couple of kills going in their way. 5-on-3 advantage. even rotating hard into B. They need to make sure, though, Jay, that they're holding on to these couple of man advantages. They can't let Patrick and Hahn get overwhelmed at B because the execution looks to come through.
Smoke set and ready. 2 players to defend the B site, Patrick and Hahn. The Eagle set on both. Headshots are plenty coming around the corner here in towards the B-site entrance. The Molotov are going to hear that player at the edge of it. Patrick going to be seen. Still gets the kill back, but Exi and Jerry double up to a 3-on-2 scenario here in the post plot.
They can at least get a bomb plant down, Jay, but they need to deal with the player out towards CT. Exi Power continues the spam through the smoke, and that could be the answer back in because Ma and Blocker are coming in through Banana, and they haven't seen anything out towards CT.
SMG will be first contact, AK right behind him. Blocker ready to face far forward first. Jerry held to the back lines, AK looking on with the SMG in the back here. Low HP for Jerry as well, takes that face. Oh, Ma turns around for both and gets both the frags. The defuser going to come through. No kit, actually. Does he have time for this?
No time.
He doesn't? No, okay. FORZE are going to hold out for long enough. They do lose all their players, but they do connect 2 rounds.
And it's not bad coming out from the Fate side. Now, realistically, they can actually force again with the fact that they saved in an AK and an MP9, and everyone went down on that FORZE camp. It's a decision that needs to be made. But yeah, look, unfortunately, it was just too slow on that retake. They needed to get a little bit more of a move on there, Jay. They did a great job, obviously, of being able to isolate the player towards Dark and Nubox, but with no kit, they didn't have the time to work with. And look at the amount of Mac 10s coming up from FORZE.
They realize there's going to be a lack ahead Kevlar here for the CT side. Was Ma and Nikki being the exceptions in this one. Now, half by still coming through from these CT camps. I'm going to try to force the issue despite the lack of money that they will have for the next rifle round. They should come through in round 4. They could well destroy the FORZE economy, though. If they can take the frags right here and actually win out this 3rd round, Fate would set themselves up to what could be the good CT side.
Utility out towards a bracket position, seeing if they can push Fate further and further back into the site, which is exactly what they've been able to do. Gamble Stack going to come out to the A bomb site when they rotate Nikki over and put 4 players at A. FORZE, it doesn't look like they want to commit to B. They want to continue the charge to A.
Out the gate, Ma gets that first kill. Alwaza can't trade it. Double up, looking for the triple. Ma actually comes up with 2 frags to return as Flit turns it around, but Hansted on site. Sees it up close, burst up. Can't get the frags. Both players running out of bullets. Pandemonium on the site. The Glock still comes up, and Exi can support it. That could have been disaster there for the T side, but they come out good just about. Damage still sustained as the buy comes in. Fate still have a chance to reset.
Oh, Han, that should have been the easiest kill of the day. And that's a play right there where you just put your head in your hands because you think, man, how did I lose that? Oh my goodness, that was an easy kill. Flit was planting the bomb. The CZ could not find it. A big turnaround from Flit with the Glock in the end. 3 on the board from FORZE. That looked very, very scary. And that should have been a round to go the way of the Fate side.
M4's in. Smoke's down. AK's out, of course, for the FORZE account with the 3 Mac 10s that still remain in play. And Mars spraying through, got several players out. Drop down, good kill. And the M4 also gets tanked up and dinked down outside the long control here. Hahn on 52 points of health. Jerry going to continue facing forward here. Turn around towards the cubby corner, just trying to take that M4 out of play. Although he drops, it won't be a massive pickup here for the CT side. They're forced back to the B site. They're saving already.
And that's one of the stock standard rounds coming out from FORZE is the apps pop. We see 3 players lining up in the apartments. You've got a single player out from brackets that is just lining up a flashbang. And as soon as that goes out, they just try and swarm. Even for Jerry, look how aggressive he got to try and push through the long smoke to try and cut off those rotations. The Fate, just as soon as that first player goes down, they're like, yeah, we're out of there. But FORZE are still hunting, Jay. The more kills that they find is going to make the buy going to the next round even more awkward.
They're going to frag away and just try to see if they can hunt for these rifles again. AK's pushing real close, and Blocker will take Flit down to return the frag. So again, the amount of rifles that get out of these rounds to the T side is a little bit scarce. Damage coming through from Fate could potentially justify a force back around here. I mean, they've got 3 M4s, so it would make a lot of sense to drop a few more SMGs, potentially some M4s of their own right, if they can afford it. That's a good pause for Fate to figure out the specifics of this buy, because well, there's a lot of potential here in round 5.
Oh, you'd expect the force buy. Patrick drop an M4, Nicky drop an M4, and get Han and Ma fired up. Unfortunately for FORZE, I was a little bit surprised they didn't overextend even further. I suppose that they're thinking about their own economy, but they could have really done some serious damage. Considering how many players were close to that B bomb site on the T side, they could have at least got away with 1 more, maybe even 2. Opting against the buy, actually, Jay. Again, this is something that I think Solo's brought to the team, is the lack of force buys, because Fate, especially in the Bulgarian scene, has always been known as like a big force buying region. And I have actually noticed these last like few weeks the lack of force buys that have come out from Fate.
Well, for FORZE, justify force buys plenty here if they wish to. Well, now they've got loads of money, so they don't have to do a force buy, let alone just a simple rifle investment. Out of the gate again, the apps pop coming through, 2 players out into pit position. Han gets that opening frag, turn around by XE, and FaceBreak gets a Mac 10 kill from long range. Almaza takes out Blocker to the rotation. And again, they drop the weapons very quickly. The CT side just crumbled on the A side defense. With Patrick going down on the exit frag, Nicky is left alone, probably to save his M4. Might look for an exit frag. X popping in towards the library. Oh, just gets that headshot in, and it's faces like that you expect to work for FORZE. You know, they always know where to pre-aim their weapons. They always know exactly where the CT common hold positions are. It's what makes Inferno such a good map for them.
Yeah, look, their crosshair placement's ridiculous. Even XE on an AK is sometimes like outrageous to think that if he can do so much with the AWP, you would expect, because there are like a lot of players, or at least back in the day, that used to be like rifle or AWPers that really struggled with the rifle. I mean, JDM was a big example in the NA scene, which was a fantastic AWPer that really struggles with the rifles. But I think one thing we certainly see in the CIS region is how strong they can be with both weapons, and even starting it off, that's the AWP battle going on to Han, and just instantly opening man advantage being found.
There's a frame that you can take from that, a sequence there that demonstrates exactly when you realize you're done. The simple peek in from XE, what a shot to find to open it up on Han. Clearing out Bracken's control entirely for Fate. They don't even want to reface that position. T's just straight down the mid control, straight in towards the A site presence. Apartments also gain. They could rotate back towards B, and that's what they'll do here. Also have the round in the palm of their hands.
And you've got to think for Han, he's getting desperate now. He's 1-6, he's really struggling. Even Ma overextending through the apartments with no support. Easy kill to come out from Flit, and now it's a 5-on-3 advantage. They can just play together, make sure they're executing as a unit. Now, there are 2 players over towards the B bomb site, and both players actually playing in towards the CT spawn, with one being boosted up.
Smoke down the main area on the banana control. FaceCrack and Almaza look to make their way up to the B site. Incendiary, Molotov down towards the back line. Mac 10 in, I thought that was a kill for him, but Flick got the AWP pick instead. FaceCrack's made his way out towards Coffins, and they think they might be safe here. The M4 is about to give him a rude awakening. Spray through from Jerry, gets that frag back. Still got a player here with the M4, and XE will deal with him. Chance there for Patrick to potentially die a bomb plant, but it was going to be so tradable anyway, so not much left for them in that round there for the Fate side. And I don't think they can justify a force back here. There's not enough money in the tank.
Yeah, you've got to think that this is getting a little bit strenuous now for the Fate camp. They're really struggling to find a lot of contention. Outside of that one round where they had a 2-on-2 on the eco, where it probably should have been their round, outside of that, we haven't really seen all too much contention. Even a knife coming into Nicky doing a little bit of damage, not a massive amount. But this is looking to be a 7-0 start, even holding on to double AWPs on the T side, Jay.
CZ's Deagles, 1 SMG for blocker, already Nicky being forced out of apps. Face crack takes Nicky to start, CZ close, gets the secondary kill, back up for the double kill. And now Han is all that remains here, back up in the corner. 2 versus 5, and this round going about as well as you would expect it here for the T side.
Yeah, it's looking really simple, isn't it? A couple of kills being found already. And Patrick and Han, the last ones left. Now, they are both at the A bomb site. Now, Han's alone, CZ in hand. And I think one thing that FORZE really have brought in these last few months that a lot of the tier 2 teams haven't, Jay, is not only the tactical depth that they bring to the table, but also just the raw A mechanics. And for everyone at home, a couple of codes to use, MaltaV and MaltaV15 over at our case partners of hellcase.com to open up some sick cases and get some sick skins, a little bit of cash on your account and a 15% refill bonus. Hey, I shout this out every day, and when we were on Hellcase last night, I even forgot about the refill bonus. So make sure you're checking that out because, mate, 15% refill bonus, I would have liked to have had that.
Would have helped out in terms of getting a better skin for me, but you know.
I'm never betting with you again. It's never going to happen.
Open play for Fate, this time on Han, but Jerry has opened up towards the banana control with his own AWP kill on Nicky. The double AWP set up as well for the T side, so FORZE are again adopting the big green guns on the offensive side. Nades up, back into the mid control for the T's. Shot from Jerry, connects a second kill. Takes a lot of damage, but still takes basically the B site at this stage. It's a 5-on-3 with no more resistance. The smokes will go up, the bomb can make his way up here, and Flit will just look to cut off rotation.
I actually have no idea why Jerry's AWPing. I've never seen him AWP before. He like hardly ever picks it up. If it's anyone to double AWP, it's Flit. He gets that first kill onto Nicky through the smoke, then follows up again. And this round's pretty much over. The A players just have to save. Jay,
yep.
We said that it could be a bit of a rough time going into Inferno. It's kind of looking like that's the case, isn't it?
Yeah. 8-0. FORZE have won the T side flawlessly so far. And it looks like they'll continue just to stack it up, you know. They're just probably expecting. I mean, you know, I don't want to be that guy, but with the way this is going, like 16-0 is not off the cards. You know,
I
like...
knew you were gonna say it. I knew you were gonna say it. But whenever you say it, it doesn't happen.
That's because I don't want to see the embarrassment on Fate's part, you know, like.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is that like contrary to what people seem to think about us, like, you know, we actually do like this team, and I like some of the players in this team. Like I remember casting blocker at one of my first international lands, so it's like, you know,
yeah.
Like why would I be, you know, why would I be a hater against him? You know, I want to see him succeed. I want to see Nicky succeed as well. I casted him on one of my first international lands. It's just like this team is just. It's just not right there, you know?
I remember casting Nicky with you back on Outlaws, you know, with Rocking, Spellin, Cirque, like way back in the day. Like that's like maybe 3.5 years ago. Like Nicky's had a long career in the Bulgarian scene, but no, you're right. Like it's been a tough one for the Fate side for the last few months. They've really had it out against them. And it's showing in this best of 3. They're just getting simply outclassed by the FORZE camp. Considering how close these two teams were in a matchup 3 weeks ago, it's kind of surprising to see how different the tale is this time around.
So half buy for Fate. AK of Jerry in against Patrick immediately. Opens things up with the AK-47. They've got Nicky in backline, CZ up. T is making their way up towards the mid control. I mean, they can go wherever they want, you know, like they can go wherever they wish to go here, and they're probably going to be able to win out the fight. I mean, there's not much resistance that Fate can throw up. Even if they can take some trades to get the, you know, get 3 players to fall on the T side, there's so much money left anyway. So the long-term and short-term game is all coming up green here for FORZE.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Moto Smoke being lined up for Jerry, Flit in the apartments, and set themselves up for an A piece. Now, there are 3 players at this A bomb site itself, so it still could do a fair bit of damage. And FORZE are taking the long control. Maybe even a split in through Speedway is a potential considering the smoked off library, but no, they want to continue their A presence.
Good shot on Nicky, takes that frag immediately. Mar is going to take a frag back of his own. Flit and face back coming with 2 frags, and Almazer drops blocker as the last frag left. As 4 players alive for the T side. And a rebuy coming in from Fate that could well do some damage here. But again, like, I'm not counting on anything. I've just thought that the way that FORZE are playing, with the numbers being posted by them, you compare that to what the CT started doing. 8 kills on Mar, the top fragger, matching up with Almazer, who is the third on the board of FORZE side. Jerry and FaceCrack don't even need to frag, even though Jerry and FaceCrack have had their impact round so far in this map.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Jerry's been really impactful, getting so many opening kills, whether it was with the secondary AWP on T or the AK. Aggression out through the apartments. A dual setup being found by the AWP and the M4 from Blocker. Very, very passive. It's almost like Almazer is expecting App's push to just come through on the city side.
Nades are doing damage at least. Flitz and Jerry tagged up. Flit in particular, very low on HP. The nade set potentially towards the cross position. Got 2 players here on the bomb site. Nades on as standard. Smoke set to the execution. All 5 players ready to make their move in towards the B site. You've got Nicky and Patrick held towards defensive positions. The CTs of Fate are not rotating just yet. I mean, now Mar's going to make his moves here. Patrick finds that first kill. They've already got a player here to cut off the rotation, and FaceCrack's going to be so ready for Mar. Checking out Tree, not seeing anything. Nades up, continuing to do damage towards Flip. FORZE have got to force their way forward out of the position, and FaceCrack gets a bit greedy, gets punished for it. 5-on-3 situation. Fate in with their opportunity now to shut down this round, get one back against FORZE here. It's 2 standing, slowly but surely they face in. M4 spray transfer. Patrick doesn't get away with the second kill, but Nicky does, and it will be a first on the board of Fate at long last.
And I tell you what, I don't want to say that was a cocky round from FORZE, but there were just some mistakes there that it didn't need to happen. You see FaceCrack pushing through that CT smoke, and rather than just playing really passive at Tree, he actually overextends, and it gets to a point where the Banana players are so slow actually going into the site that they don't have another smoke to smoke off CT, and from there they can just establish a crossfire. That's easy shooting coming out from the Fate side, and now even they're running double orbs going into round 11.
Han. The flashbangs and nades up towards the wood position. Again, early damage being done by the CT side here in this round. The FORZE have the map control. They still have no kills on the Fate side, and really that's the thing that they need the most, the kills. Try and wear down FORZE to take away some of that firepower, because even at man disadvantage, they can still win these rounds, you know?
Yeah, no, they absolutely can. And you've got to think for Fate, try and hold on to as much as that utility as possible late into the round. That's where FORZE have come up really strong, is that they've been able to hold on to a lot of T-side economy, a lot of T-side utility, I should say, but still take a lot of map control. In towards Banana, it's going to be Nicky with the AWP waiting for a jump spot up towards the broken wall. But it's all a ruse, Jay. They're not going over towards B, not going over towards Banana. It's back to the A-bomb side. They're even going to rotate Patrick out to try and help over at B.
Time is running short. Smoke's down. 3 players on A site to receive them here, but we've seen how quickly FORZE can make good on the A site hits. Utility out, Smoke's down again towards site. Flashbang over from FaceCrack. Nade on towards pit position. Should damage up the player that's back there indeed. Mar tanks it to the face. Third nade coming in. He goes down as the first casualty. Player in the back lines. Blocker's going to focus fire around his corner. Sees one. Almazer takes him down. Gets hard. And that is the execute I'm talking about. 10 seconds. The bomb plant will be received. And FORZE shut Fate out of the round once again. That is a knockback as well on the economy.
Oh, what a day to be a pit play. You've got 3 nades and a molly that comes in. That's just so much util. Nothing you can do against that. There really isn't. Mar just gets completely overwhelmed in pit, and then they swarm the bomb side. Even FaceCrack gets like on top of the default box to try and spam through the moto smoke. Fate, as soon as they win a round, even bringing double AWPs in, it's just utter domination. FORZE really run down the clock. Utility is fantastic. Crosshair placement's great. Crossfires being set are even better. 10-1. And you almost thought, Jay, that one Fate got 1 round, that could have been the way in to maybe, you know, get 4 rounds, 5 rounds on the CT side. But after seeing that response, I'm thinking to myself, no, that's not going to happen.
At least at the 9-16-0, so, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
For Fate.
I mean, don't see those in a while.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that we don't like to see them, so we're not encouraging
we really don't.
Imagination.
Yeah.
Like, it's just upsetting just to just go through the same motions over and over again until eventually the 16-0 hits. Like, you know, I've casted lands, very amateur, low-level lands, which you've never heard of, where we've literally had series which has gone 32-0. It's not a fun time, you know. It's not a fun time at all.
Yeah.
4-on-3, still not a fun time for Fate as they do find an initial couple of trades and frags there. I've got to play it back behind the T-side line, and Mark making his way up from bridge at the back to T-side apartments. Good backstepping against the banana players. If they're not ready for this, this could be a bit of a fun time, actually.
Thing is, though, Mar's not going to see the player towards top mid, so it kind of goes both ways. Because as soon as the mid player starts going through banana, that's where Mar's going to be seen. No, Flit's coming in the backstab, so that's actually 2 backstabs. 1 from the city side, and now 1 from the T side.
Mar's not going to act upon his, not going to move further forward just yet. They think they're all going to be here towards the B site. Flit's timing is going to be so much better because Mar is going to sneak his way all the way up banana. Flit's already halfway up Speedway. They're accounting for this. The AWP might be ready for this. No, caught off guard the wrong moment. That's round over. 11 to the FORZE side as Fate have Mar to stay alive here. Might get an exit frag, but I think they know where he is, having seen nothing back towards the A site, up towards CT spawn. Even if they do counter him, there's probably only going to be a chance he gets the frag on Jerry and nobody else. FORZE are continuing to dominate, 10 rounds in the lead above Fate here.
And you've even thought there for Fate, like they slowed that retake down so much that you could see the safe call was coming through. Even with the AWP for Han, the timing's really awkward. He's looking towards that CT spawn position. As soon as he unscopes, that's when we see the backstab coming in from Flit. 11-1. Fate, maybe more aggression. And that's what's going to happen down through mid.
M4 bursts through, Mar takes that frag. Face crack gets a trade, but Blocker trades it right back. Finally, the CT starting to look good here on their first contact plays, but not taking everybody down here. Only a single man advantage with the way the FORZE have worked off the back of this. Again, expect worst case scenario. They could still potentially win out this round and win out these fights on the trades. If they can isolate the player towards B site, especially just smoke down, cross, take Patrick down. That'll be a 3v3 retake to the B site.
Fate are probably in a position now where we probably won't see any more aggression. They're one of those teams where they sometimes aggress in the early round, but it's normally the mid and late round where we see them going quite passive in the sites. Almaze is just trying to sell as much of a B fake as possible, and even for Long. Long is not challenged at all. This, I'm not sure who that is that's walking in. It might be Jerry. This is an easy sightline into trying to wrap to B from CT.
45 seconds, you've got to pick it up here. Han is ready for that backstab, though. AWP watching the angle from the entrance to construction. Gonna see his man take that frag, and the backstab is taken out. From here, they should have the info to clean up the rest of the round here. So SMG is gonna be the main concern, and there's not a lot of firepower for the CTs, but he's seen the AWP in the backline, therefore seeing the bomb planter. Alma's a shoulder baiting out towards this cross position. Molotov down. Patrick should get forced down. Oh, he's ahead of the Molotov. Still come through for Almaza, and still they force the issue.
Oh, of course they do, Jay. 2-on-2. You've got to think. Advantage now up for the T side, especially with Almaza getting aggressive. AWP connecting. And now it's into a 1-on-1. Blocker's so low on 19 HP, but so is Exy Power. AWP versus M4. The swing's got to come out from Exy at some point. Maybe even try and get him with the pistol. And Blocker is getting closer and closer to the site himself. I don't know whether Exy Power knows he's got this aggressive. It all comes down to timing. No kit on the way for Blocker. Exy Power, can he hit the shot with the AWP? Blocker's still around the corner. The AWP shot comes through. 12 on the board for FORZE. Oh, that was their chance. That was their chance, Jay. That was a 4-on-2.
Oh, Fate.
It's probably what Nicky's saying
Fate.
too.
Oh, man. And that is not a round they should have lost. Absolutely not. A 4-on-2. And still FORZE found trades, just miscoordinated on the B-side defense, and coming into round 14, I honestly think they're done here, Dwayne. Like, unless their T-side is just as impressive, and I doubt that'll be the case, this should be over. This should be a simple map to close out 2-0.
It really should be. FORZE 4-on-4. They've taken a bit of damage onto Jerry. Nicky's does need a little bit of support, but no, just the wide swing comes out from Jerry. That's a big jewel to be found from Nicky, but he needs to fall back, hold on to this man advantage. The face crack trades, and he opens up B. They can bring the bomb in, and this pretty much has to be an instant save.
I mean, does it have to be? Like, this probably is a case where it probably has to be just a hope and pray to a retake here. Blocker does turn it back to a 2-on-2, so at least they have a chance into this side. But there's one player coming through now. Blocker's going to call it in. Still, Han's not rotating here. I don't know what the play is from Faye, but they look so miscoordinated throughout this entire map, so it doesn't surprise me. Shoulder bait, seeing a hand, evading the nade here, getting challenged. And now the second nade going to follow suit, take him down. Nade to respond, no blockers on 21 HP, does not quite fall just yet. Flip being heard, seen him off the smoke, and Blocker does come up here with a kill, and with a second round for the Fate CT side.
Okay, well, that's actually a pretty decent retake. The nades coming into Nubox deal with Exy, and they're just working together. Great crossfires being set, peeking on each other's contact there, getting 2 rounds. And yeah, no, I was having a quick chat with the producer, Jay, trying to figure out like what was the most one-sided performances we've had in a map in Malta Vibes, and it was last week where MIBR lost their map pick of Train 1-16 against Mad Lions in the quarterfinals. That's probably the most one-sided map we've seen this entire Malta Vibes. At least for Fate, it doesn't look like they're going to be going down to just 1 round because they've got 2.
Well, I mean, at least they evade that one-sided victory. So the most one-sided victory there, or loss in their case. They're trying to force the issue against FORZE. They're just really spitballing ideas and hoping that something sticks, but no. Nicky does return fire against Jerry. Face crack the low HP player, also staying in, so they get a high HP frag instead, but still Nicky wide faces against Exit. There's no need to do players like that against FORZE.
They're just desperate. That's all it is, Jay. They're really looking for a way back in and making silly mistakes there, just like wide swinging from Nicky. A B execution coming through. There's even a chance to get Blocker boosted up into that flower pot's position. Now, there's a few times that FORZE have not quite checked this angle. Face track around. That's going to give the info that Blocker's there, but he's fallen back. 3-on-3.
And they must have heard that drop as well. XC, Orp on site. Spray goes dramatically wrong for Mars. Spray around the corner for Almaza. Trades to evens, and the bomb can get planted. Molotov to ensure that no one's there in construction. And indeed, nobody is. Blocker forcing forward. Spray through blind. Flick catches him just as blind as well. And Han with the AWP, a kit in. An incredible 1v2 clutch if he can make it happen. Both players held to the same positions. I imagine it would be a bait for a kill against Almaza. Then Flick can swing out, get the trade, or otherwise just hold passive as Han checks all the angles, but does not see the last T-side individual. They do spread out in the end, back behind Nubox. Incendiary comes up, counter nade in, good scope out, does not land the shot. So 10 HP for Han, lands a leg shot onto Flit. He evades the nade, but yeah, smokes out, flashes over. This round is over, there's not enough time at the clock. 13-2 at the half for FORZE on T-side of Inferno. And Fate are going to have to work miracles to bring this comeback. I don't think they can do it here, Dweg.
Ah, certainly not. Yeah, look, it's a tough one because you're facing off against FORZE in their best map in the map pool. You have a look at what they've been able to achieve in the last 3 months. If this is a victory from FORZE, they would have lost Inferno 12 times out of 40 maps. And Jay, I'm scared to look. Can I open my eyes? What's the odds? It's looking pretty one-sided. 11.18 for Fate to be able to establish this comeback over at our good friends at Lupa. In saying that though, £100 on FORZE will give you £1 back. Like,
that's why I don't even think it's actually a pound. I think it might be like 10p.
No, do you not understand math? It is a pound.
I'll have to do the calculations in a moment. For now, it is the pistol round here. Flitz going down first. At least Fate find a way in to this half. Good entry down towards the mid position. Alma's doing a response though. Are you surprised? That is going to be a headshot to return back to a 4-on-4. Still got brackets control, no apartments facing the CTs, but they're just going passive, and Fate going to try and look for an overextension.
Jerry's pushed so far aggressive through Banana too that if the T's end up starting to swing out towards that B bomb site, there'll be some really quick rotations to come through. But into the apartments they continue to go. Patrick's getting wide swung from 2 players. Actually opens up to Exy, but the trade is back, so it's still an advantage up for the CTs.
Face cracks alone though, still gets the headshot in against 1. Nicky will find that trade to a 2-on-2. The retake on with Alma's having the kit. He might not need it. He taps the head immediately, drops that bomb. He's known as well. Blocker taking damage. They would have heard that tag. Face up, simple USP kill. Can't quite come through, but Jerry takes him out anyway. Good start on a pistol, returned by FORZE to a 14-2, and the end is in sight for the T side.
It really is, isn't it? You've got to think for Fate, this is maybe their chance to, I don't know, get out and get some fresh air. Just try and not relive this game, because honestly, this matchup here, after being decimated like they have, it's going to be a tough one to sort of even go through forward, Jay, to sort of say, wow, we've just got absolutely been smashed from FORZE. 14-2. A force buy coming out from the Bulgarians just to see if they could find any kind of round on the board here.
They're going to force buy their way back into this one in whole. Hope and pray. Double nades up, could catch Flit. Okay, that's a good strat to swing up and get a frag back. Reading the boiler presence. The Eagles up here. Patrick, Mark, good frags. Almazer and Exy. Last 2 individuals left, so at the very least, Fate have been able to, again, secure an advantage with the FORZE camp. How many times have we seen them lose 4-on-2s or 4-on-3 scenarios? Maybe against the FAMASs it will be a bit of an easier affair, especially with Block having one of his own, right? But Exy does frag back, and Almazer swinging in. Is Nicky ready for this? He doesn't wide face, he stays passive on the site.
There should be no way back in here from FORZE. There should be absolutely no chance that they can retake this.
Oh, no.
This was a 5-on-2 for the T side, and you've got to think a kill onto Almazer and a smoke for Exy. This is still doable. They might as well try and go for it.
Gotta check graveyard. Stairs of Han. Does he see him? Yes, he does. That's a frag. Sees the apartment's control. Bursts up, takes damage. Gotta look towards Pit. Mar will swing. Take that frag back. And looks like they will restore order in the server. But from a 5-on-2, still fighting to do damage and keep 2 players alive at the Fate side. The fact that FORZE were able to do that with just their 2 basic rifles really shows how on the ropes Fate really are.
Yeah, look, they see some really great deagle shots there. Got a little bit complacent in the post plant, but look, they get away with the 3rd round, and that's really all that counts. FORZE on double eco status, so they're going to have to buy going into round 18. A scout out for Exy. Looks like Deagle's out for most of them. Fate are way back in just to be able to claw some sort of advantage forward. And you've got to think, as soon as the scout's on Exy, it can always be dangerous, but they've actually dealt with him pretty early in the round. He's down to 20 points of health.
Spam on the Deagle, does damage to Mar, does not get the kill. The USP of Exy will still try and fight his way out of this one. Should know he's there. Check the left corner. Face in. Oh, what a flick. Easy body shot though. I mean, he landed the headshot, so, you know, credit where it's due. FAMAS blocker peeking in though. AK is his back turn, so can't stay in play. T's wrap over into the bomb site, bomb plant to be secured. And hey, at least Fate are holding some confidence here in the second half. I don't believe we a retake on for the CT side. So 4 to the board. They are denying the match point for the moment, but how long is that going to last? We talk about the 15-5 scoreline in the last map and how, you know, that was basically just a case of time and how long they can hold out for. Same situation here. How long can Fate hold out for in this massive, massive deficit?
Yeah, look, I think they can get to 16-8. I think if they get, you know, 8 rounds again on Inferno, then at least they can be pretty satisfied with bringing it back to a somewhat decent competitive scoreline. But you've got to think getting to double digits and further is just kind of an impossible task to be thinking about at this point. Realize the fact, okay, you've got 4 rounds up now. That was the force buy coming out from FORZE. So it's going to be pretty much a complete eco off the basis of everyone that went down. even Nikki, this is really an opportunity with that Mac 10 to start to build up a little bit of money. You know, if you want to run double AWPs on the T side, just do it. Like, play with freedom, play like your back's up against the wall, and yeah, if you make a mistake and it goes wrong, you give them Map's point. Yeah, you pretty much know you're going to already lose this series. You might as well play with as much freedom as possible.
Flash is over, Molotov's down. He's sliding towards brackets. Flit here with a 5-7. Anyone going to check this angle? Yes, they are. Nikki, straight headshot. Straight frag. On towards the A-bomb site. Bomb plant will be secured. And FORZE, I mean, they might as well stack their way interesting. They can do some damage. They've got Deagles in play. They've got CZs and Kevlar. I mean, they're not going to be able to go. They're not going to go for an eco in the next round. So there's no sense in saving the weapons for another good round here. I mean, even so, the Seeds are going to push forward, take them all down. CZ here of Jerry, looking for 2 kills and does at least do the damage. A couple of rifles dropped, but nothing major for Fate. They can still afford the investment. FORZE all swapped to their own buy. And it's the rifle buy for both sides.
AWP up for Exy. You've got to think that he wants to try and maybe do something aggressive, whether he goes out towards Broken Wall at B or an opening mid pick like he tried to do in that last round with the Scout, or the round previously, I should say. Out towards mid could be an option. FORZE just looking for a way back in to get to that map point. Flash out towards mid, deal with the AWPer, and force him straight back.
The department's control for Fate. Smokes down. Contact positions are held, just the utility coming in towards the apps pop. Similar to what FORZE have done in the past in their T side, but this time it's Stall of the first kill coming in for Flit. Still on site, known entity takes out Blocker regardless. Mar gets a trade for Master Face Crack, swings on Han, the backstab on towards that long control. 4 on 2. Bomb plant can be secure, but retake is on for the CT side as they get Nikki. It leaves it all on Mar to fend off the entire CT forces. Lines up 2 kills, but the AWP of Exy trades it the same. So that will be a 15 for FORZE. Map and match points here in the quarterfinals. FORZE 1 away from going over past the finish line, defeating Fate in a simple series and moving to the semi-finals.
Yeah, they look like they're going to get there pretty quickly, and they'll be facing off against the winner of Endpoint and Sprout. That's going to be a little bit after this, Jay. So at least for FORZE, you know, getting into the semis after a really decent result is going to help them going into that next matchup. And Fate, and seeing if they can just hold any kind of contention. FORZE are looking to try and end this right here, right now. Just a great standpoint. The apps pop coming out that last round, getting absolutely decimated. Fast up from second mid. This looks pretty quick to into brackets, and Exy Power finds the opener.
Almost lined up a collateral as well. Han's tagged up. They do overwhelm the AWPs in second phase as Nate's back to do some damage towards Mar. Next, Bart plays in, and Han is going to flash assist Mar to get that frag back. 4 on 3 situation. Fate have access to the site. A bomb plot to be secured, and their isolated duels could have gone wrong, but they go so right this time, and it looks like they'll stay alive for another good round.
Alrighty, damn, that was really quick. That's probably one of the quickest rounds we've seen from either team, just running up through second mid, getting into brackets so damn quickly, and trying to see if they could just keep forcing the AWPer back and back from Exy, and finds that opening shot, can't quite retreat to long. And even for Mar, just opening up, couple of great kills, flash assists coming out, so many flashbangs. And FORZE were just completely blind on the 2A anchors. And into the save they go. 6 rounds on the board now for Fate. I was quite happy with that round there. That looked quite nice from the T's.
Indeed. Fate showing similar signs of confidence that FORZE held on their T-side half. Gonna keep that confidence in for the next 9 rounds, and then even after overtime to stay alive. AWPs in, AKs from Arsis. Leaving AWP stuff for the Fate camp as well. Nikki probably going to pick up the mantle of that. So FORZE comes back from FORZE. They did so well with the AWP opening kills. Just the rifles around it to try and find the rest of the frags and hold the control on the A side defense. A lot of utility put out early here towards the banana position. Nades, Molotovs, not doing any damage. The mid pick being searched for XE sees the back of one player, looks back to Mexico. AK sees his shoulder and forces him off angle. Tank to 24 HP.
Oh, good opening coming out from Nicky. Look at the damage they've done. And now Patrick's opened up with another kill. This is now a 5-on-3 advantage. They could just rush into B.
Martin gonna get forced back out here. Patrick takes the swing on the hit. AWP does see one, but just can't land that shot. And Fate's pacing has definitely caught FORZE off guard so quick into these executions and into these defaults that now the challenge is on for the CT side.
Yeah, look, this is really Fate coming into their own. And that's kind of what we saw on Train, right? Is that a very late comeback, which was only a matter of time until FORZE were able to take the map, and you'd expect a very similar circumstance going out into Inferno. Oh, seeing some really great jewels coming out from Fate, looking very, very crispy. Hardly any even damage was done to Fate, and they can still hunt down Flip. They take down this from us. They'll have pretty much nothing to work with in the last round. That's great. That's a fantastic round from Fate, and this is probably going to be a very light eco now from FORZE.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that off the back of what it was a dominant Train, Fate are going to get even higher than their previous map up of Inferno against FORZE. Remember, 16-7 was the end result of that last map they played in the last best of 3. Unless FORZE pull off an eco victory right here, it seems Fate are bound for 8 on their T-side board. Trying to avoid the embarrassing losses here on Inferno. First contact established into the mid control. It's Jerry over on B, who's been forced out of banana. The damage being done to 28 points of health. Backed up here with a nade set up. Bomb back over towards the stairs area. Can't commit anywhere they need to, but for Fate for now, it's just default standard.
And so much slower too in comparison to what we've seen in these last few rounds. We've seen just some really fast aggression to come out from the Fate side, and this time around they start to slow it down. Gamble Stack though is starting to move over towards B after finding that opening kill from Flit.
Arman's going to be ready to shut down Blocker the first face. AK gets that kill, and now they counter rotate here with 2 individuals. Bit of an overzealous rotation and stack up. Much better in much better circumstances. The Eagles say, XE trades Nicky, and they maintain control of the man advantage. Face crack on site. He was seen by Blocker. XE turning around, sees one player out of brackets, going to try and deal with the backline of Patrick. Double tap. It's not going to happen. FORZE are doing it. Fate will have to accept their fate as Mars left alone in a 1-on-3, trying to clutch it with an AK sneaking in the back. The bomb's dropped on site, 25 seconds. I know exactly where he is. And it's all gone to hell. It's all fallen apart. It's all over for Fate. 16-7, FORZE the repeat history, and they 2-0 the opposition straight into the semi-finals.
I can't believe that's the round, Jay. That's the round that puts him into the semis. These Deagle shots are incredible. They really were. Fate, disappointed.